Welcome to your reading. I will be reading the field for you today, so you can kick back. We're going to see what's going on, what I can pick up on, what you may be moving through, any advice, confirmation, and insight I can get around what my cards show me is current. Let's see. I got a 7 of Swords, 3 of Swords, 4 of Swords, 8 of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, 5 of Swords, a lot of swords got down, King of Pentacles, Hanged Man, underlying energy, 9 of Wands. So I'm just going to check for reversals before I break this down for you. So give me a second, please. You can get comfortable in the meantime. Maybe you want to grab a beverage. So we're going to be here for around 30 minutes. So 7 of Swords is reversed. 3 of Swords reversed, 4 of Swords reversed, 8 of Cups upright, Knight of Pentacles upright, 5 of Swords reversed, King of Pentacles reversed, Hanged Man reversed. What the hell is going on here? That's upright. I just want a bit of clarification. It just looks like having a getting a situation wrong, in the sense of like your head making up stories, or your thoughts creating a story, but actually it's not. I mean, it's a bit vague to say it's not the truth or it's not real, but I hope you understand what I mean by this. I'm picking it up as like, for example, you may have thought a person is a certain way, but in actual truth it then wasn't. So I'm gonna try to figure out if I can get a concrete situation to break this down a bit more. Okay. Yeah, fears is coming up as well. You know how fears are considered false evidence appearing real. So when you have fears flare up, again, concretely, I'm getting it as an example in relationships, or when you're dating. You're meeting someone, you like them, but then suddenly fears flare up, and the fears are valid in the sense that they may come from something you've experienced, or, you know, like fears are not always logical, but we can feel them in our we can feel it in our body. We can feel when our nervous system spikes, or we can feel when we're getting anxious. We can feel fear in our body. So it's real in that sense, like you're afraid, like your body's telling you something's wrong, or you need to be cautious. Whether it's real, whether it's real in the sense whether you really needs to be for that situation, that's another question, and that's what this reading is apparently about. I'm picking up again whether it's a situation, or this has just happened, or you're moving through this where you have your body telling you something, but it's kind of tricky because we did a Patreon reading around not overriding your signal and how important it is to not override your signal. But in this case, there's as well with being at the crossroads, there's a sense of first needing to discern what is intuition, what is really your gut screaming at you, basically telling you yes or no, and what are fears telling you yes or no. And apparently it can somewhat feel similar within the body, why it can be hard to discern in the first place. So I just want a bit more clarification, but that's just the main energy I can pick up for now. The star just landed smack in the middle. Yeah, I'm really getting it concretely as a love, or a date, dating someone or meeting someone new that you tend to, that you know you have chemistry with, or you like them. Basically, there's a person here coming through that is helping you heal, your fears, or part of what is causing the fears. But I'm hearing you need to allow it in. Like you need to allow it in. You need to allow yourself to receive this. But here as well, there could be that your mind starts playing tricks, and your mind starts painting them as the villain, or old wounds flare up that you then project onto them. And again, like there's a lot of wands out, a lot of swords out. So like it's creating basically garbage in your head. Like that's how I heard it, creating garbage in your head, in the sense that it's not really confirmed. Like it's not, making up straw. But again, the root of why this is happening is because of fears flaring up. So it's like your system is trying to find a way to confirm the fears, or to be like, yeah, look, this is why what you're feeling is real. It's really interesting because I never thought about fears. Like the way that breaking down fears is like even new info for myself. Like I never thought about fears in such a way, or never really like try to understand what fears truly are and where they come from, because the way it's come through in the reading, it's really being described as like a sensation within your body. And like I already said, false evidence appearing real. And there's a reading on that on Patreon that you can rewatch or watch if you become a member, that breaks this down even more. For now, with the Ace of Cups in reverse, it's definitely coming down to, I seem to be on the right track when I say like I'm picking it up as like, whether it's dating or just like a love, romantic occurrence. So with the Four of Swords in reverse and the Eight of Cups, it just looks like disappointments as well flaring up. Like the fears seem to be connected to disappointments that just haven't been, like, that make you feel unsettled. But what it seems to be important to discern, that it may not be the person that is making you feel unsettled. It may be your own, like your system, your thoughts, your like trauma or experiences that have like are still somewhat lodged within your energy field, like within your body, that get triggered and they flare up. So we have talked about this as well, like triggers are always an opportunity to address something that is still lingering, and it doesn't matter if years have passed. You know, there's layers also to addressing issues. You know, it's not always possible to address everything in one sitting. Your being is very intelligent that way. It will like show layers of what you are even ready to address, like what, with the consciousness level that you have, like with the resources that you have, what is important and what you are ready to address. And you will understand more of what I'm just talking about when you join the group quantum clearing sessions on Patreon. So I'm just going to move through the cards. I want a bit more on the Knight of Pentacles. I mean, it's good you're setting boundaries. You know, it's good as well that you're listening to yourself, like you're listening to your body, whether it's real or not. It's good in the first place that you can register it, that like, okay, for the first moment, it's not really important to discern, is it fear or is it my intuition, but actually like listening. And then you can move into figuring out, okay, is it really fear, or is it my intuition warning me and telling me not to go there? So what I'm getting will somewhat make that clearer is when you I want to say when you get out of your head into doing, but that is like in a romantic connection, what would that look like? It would mean that you experience the person, you allow yourself to experience the person, and you allow the person, in this case, who's coming through as a King of Cups, you allow them to give you feedback. So this is what then in turn can be very healing, because let's say you have a fear flare up and your body is like reacting in a way, and you then like take a step back, or you kind of bit of in a frenzy, or even feel like, you know, this can feel really intense. This can really feel like you're in danger or you're under attack. For some of you, I'm hearing is when a person like gets closer to you, you can react in a way that may seem really like doesn't really make sense. It may not make logical sense, but you just can feel it like somatically. You feel it in your body. So what I'm getting, what is going to really help you, especially with this King of Cups, is that you have feedback. You can talk to them about what is happening, because they in turn may give you feedback, which will then make you realize, oh wait, I'm actually tripping, you know, like I'm actually just having a reaction that I don't know exactly where it's coming from, but it's feeling real within my body right now. If you want to address, like if you resonate with this and you have triggers coming up and you don't really know how to address them, or you don't know how to start, that already, like your awareness can already bring the ball rolling. And in this case, like I said, I'm just going to repeat myself, that you get feedback from the person, like you can actually talk to them about what is occurring, because they apparently, in this case, it looks like they will be able to, it's not even fully about reassurance, but it's like let's say you painted them as a villain. Let's say your fears flare up and your fears paint this person as a villain. Oh, they're gonna ruin your life, they're gonna waste your time. And when you get out of your head and actually experience the person, and you do exactly what came through here, like if the trigger flares up or fear flares up, you talk to them about it, they react in a way, or they respond in a way that then doesn't match your description of them, doesn't match the way you were painting them, the way you were thinking about them. That will, like the breaking apart of a sort of delusion can feel uncomfortable. It is an avoidance, like it's coming through as an avoidance tactic as well though, like painting them as a villain or painting a story about them due to how you're feeling in your body and due to the fears and the triggers that are flaring up, and then giving the person the opportunity to give you real life feedback, which then doesn't match with the fears or the trigger, like doesn't match with the story you created. That will sort of, it causes like a crack in the illusion. And I'm getting that actually then makes room for real love, or if you don't want to call it real love, it will make room for real connection to occur. So yeah, I'm just hearing this is really common, or this is really common for people that have somewhat taken a step back, or are not, you know, the biggest fans of dating, or find relationships really difficult, or just like have gotten into situations where exactly you didn't listen to your intuition, but then back then it wasn't a fear, like it really wasn't your intuition telling you something. And also I'm getting like I'm getting a lot of streams of consciousness around how you just never really know as well. And that is like a part of where you have to release control and where you have to surrender. Like basically relationships or romantic relationships are where that is really prevalent, like the need to, like needing to surrender, needing to let go of control, and that can feel extremely scary. You know, that's as well part of the fears that I'm picking up, is that aspect of like free falling. And that's what some then describe as falling in love, is exactly this, like you're free falling, you don't know if the person is going to catch you or not. And that's part of the risk that apparently you have to take. Like if you want to experience real love or a real connection, that's part of the risk that apparently you need to take. And you know this as well. It's just you either at the crossroads of like, okay, I'm gonna keep walking my path alone, or I'm gonna allow myself to experience this, which ties into the last reading before this I'm getting reminded of that. If you haven't watched it, that you may want to, because it seems like somewhat of a sequel to that reading. It's called A Connection is Unfolding That Is Not Meant to Be Defined, It Is Meant to Be Lived. So I will link it below, so you can click that if you wanna watch that. Can you tell me more? What may be playing tricks as well, or what makes you feel like you may need to take a step back at times, is when you get intimate with a person, because there's a bit of a fear here, or like, again, this can be tied to an experience or experiences where you've had where either, you know, being intimate was everything to the relationship, like, or it even somewhat acted as the glue, you know, that there may have not been a real connection or like a deep connection, but you had great sex with each other, or the sex was like out of this world. And then I'm just seeing it tied, that I'm seeing someone be a little bit cautious about that, or just it's making them think, and it's making them like kind of keep the cards close, or like this as well is part of the discernment. Like I'm picking up on someone really strongly in the thoughts about, is this lust or is it love? And this can also be really tricky for a lot of people, especially if you are someone who, you know, tends to be like very physical, or you get information on a person through being physical with them, or you get close and intimate with a person through being physical. Like for one, a love language, but it is also, it looks like I'm reading for someone, or this is a stream of consciousness I'm picking up, where you have had connections where, there was like extreme attraction, a lot of intensity, passion, but there wasn't any love. And that is apparently part of what you are processing, or a pattern that is showing up where you're still somewhat learning about this. Like you're learning what is genuine, true love, real love, and what is based on, I mean, this doesn't like pure attraction, chemistry, sexual chemistry, like being intimate with each other and it being really intense and really passionate alone can be enough for a few people. You know, some can build whole relationships around that and it's enough. In your case, I'm not sure if it's enough, because it's coming through, like the way it's coming through, the way I'm picking up on you being, like you processing this, or even at times needing to take a step back from said connection, or that would help you. If you don't do that, that would apparently help you to, like, if it's really passionate and it's really intense, to give yourself periods where you have space from the person, just so you can somewhat recalibrate and really understand what is going on within you, because there seems to be a real need for that. And I'm hearing, I don't want to fall into a trap. That is another fear that is flaring up. So if this is like your default, or if this is how you tend to connect within romantic relationships, where it's pure, like it's very physical, what is going to help you, like the advice I'm getting for you, is to give you, like, allow yourself space in between, so that you can recalibrate and somewhat get back to your baseline. Like that's going to really help you also to, like, I'm getting like organizing, or just being, understanding what connection is. So let's say you have two connections. One is slow drip, goes very, very slow. You have not been intimate yet. You have, like, you know, there's a bit of communication, but you feel drawn to them. You know, there's attraction, like could be a form of crushing, but it's very slow moving. And then on the other hand, you have someone, or you have a connection that's very intense, and it's like physical, and it's raw, and it's primal, and you, like, you know, we don't have to get too graphic, but it's intense, and it's activating you, and it's like, let's say you have these two simultaneously running. This is just an example. it's like both. How do I finish this? I just lost the stream. Yeah, it's just somewhat, it's as if like being somewhat confused as to what you want or what you need in the moment. And that as well is going to give you information though, because it could be, okay, the intensity and the primal and the attraction, like, and the, you know, physical aspect of one connection is exactly what you need right now. Long term though, the slow drip is more of what you can see unfolding into longevity, for example. Like basically what I'm reading, what I'm picking up on is someone like trying to figure out what exactly they've gotten themselves into, what they're getting themselves into, because the awareness of it will keep you from, for example, projecting longevity or long term onto a person where it's meant to be purely physical for now, or like a chapter of your life, or like a fun time, or again an experience that is meant to be lived but not defined. Hint, that YouTube reading. And then there's another connection running, again, whether these are separate or it's happening simultaneously, that will bring you somewhere else, or that may be more connected to your purpose, or more connected to destiny or future outcome. So again, like this fear of I'm gonna walk into a trap can be avoided by you just being consciously aware of where you stand, or being telling yourself facts, you know, because like I already told you, there's a lot of swords out, there's a lot of like tendencies of being in your head, and whether it's over analyzing, whether it's like projection, meaning you project fears, you project wounding onto situations and people, on relationships, which pretty much everyone does to some degree, whether conscious or unconscious. What's going to help you break out of this pattern, or break out of this fear of like, oh, I'm walking into a trap? One, I'm just going to repeat myself, get out of your head as much as you can and just experience. Other words, being present with yourself, being present with the person, allowing the person to give you feedback, allowing the person to override, you know, wirings, and like allowing a person to show up for you basically, especially if they're willing to sit with you when you're triggered, or they're willing to talk to you when you're triggered, or you're having, you're tweaking, or you're tripping out, or you have a somatic reaction that you cannot explain, that may make you feel like you need to pull away, or you need to, you know, cut, or, you know, like there's a part of why I'm struggling is because what I'm picking up on, the way I'm feeling it in my body, it's hard to explain, like it's hard to make logical sense of it. And here as well, it's like it just happens in the moment. So for example, everything can be fine with a person, and then you suddenly a voice in your head says, or something tells you, this is dangerous, like this is dangerous, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna walk into a trap, the same thing's gonna happen as well, and you start spiraling, and then, you know, you're like, I'm out, I have to go, I can't do this. When actually in real life, like in the present, like there's generally that the person has no bad intentions with you, or they're there. You're having a reaction to, this is where trauma, I guess, is trauma. Trauma is really complex that way, because it just creeps up on you, and it feels real, like it's real in that moment. You know, like you may know from PTSD or veterans that were in the war, and they're back with home and the family, they're like, you know, walking in the park, and they hear loud noise, and in that moment the whole body and the whole system is like, we're under attack, we're getting shot, when it could be just a kid, you know, throwing a rock at a wall or something. You know what I'm getting at? Like that's apparently what someone here is experiencing. It's like you're having reactions like, like your war may have been, your form of war may have been a relationship. So this is complex trauma, basically. But again, like I'm just going to repeat myself, the advice or what's going to help you with this. I mean, alongside, you can do trauma therapy, you can, whatever you may be doing. This can be also addressed in a one-on-one session if you want to work alongside a therapist. I'm definitely available for that, but I'll say the details at the end. For now, what I wanted to remind you of, what I wanted to repeat is being present. Like, being present, apparently the awareness of what is going on is going to save you a lot of what you may perceive as heartbreak. And again, with the Hermit here, like, just taking space, like, in between, especially, let's say you spend 10 days locked up with a person and you're fully like merging and you're like this, you're gonna do yourself a favor if you can take a few days, take a few days break, maybe no contact, maybe no phone calls, just you back in your space, in your own four walls, like playing with your cats again, or with your dog, or whoever you are, get it, focusing on your work, focusing on like back in your world. That is gonna apparently really help, especially if you are someone who has like two parallel connections happening, which is partly of what I picked up on. But this reading may find people that like just take from the reading what helps you, or what offers clarity. How long are we? I'm hearing you don't need to have it all figured out, and you don't have to have it all figured out, and you don't need to. You don't have to have it all figured out right now, and that's as well meant to help you get out of your head, because it looks like your head in these cases is a little bit destructive, or even like leading you to outcomes that you may then not want. Let's say in the moment you then cut someone, like you have a reaction and you're like, fuck, this person is gonna be the death of me, and you cut them off, when actually, all they want to do is love on you and be there for you, hold space for you, and enjoy time with you. So that, of course, then can be really heartbreaking, or can make you feel upset when you do have reactions, or you have triggers, and then you react in a way that actually is not the way, like doesn't lead to the outcome that you wanted. And if you have a partner, or it is a person that is very understanding and also understands what you are working through, they will be able to hold space. And if they cannot hold space, then you can always decide when the journey ends for you. And this is as well just meant to take, it feels like it's meant to take some worries off of it, some fears, or some like, I'm really strongly picking up on someone who doesn't want to walk into a trap, meaning doesn't want to walk into a relation, like doesn't want to end up in a relationship that they don't really want. So that's why I'm saying the advice for you is to really just keep taking breaks when it gets intense, take a few, pull back a bit, but it doesn't have to be like full on like avoiding the person, but you can express that, like, I had a wonderful time, I just need a few days for myself, and then you recalibrate and you realize, you're good. Another thing that apparently is going to help you, if you can constantly remind yourself that you're good with or without them. And this is for someone who gets like very, very attached. This message is for someone who has a tendency getting very attached and very fast, and it's kind of like I'm side-eyeing the Ace of Wands, so it's that those of you that have really intense physical relationships, passionate relationships, like there's attachment there, even entanglement, whereas a slow drip or this like other connection that I was picking up on, there's not a lot happening there, or it feels like not a lot is happening. So you may be someone that really craves intensity, and you love that, merging with a person, and want to freaking be as close as possible as you can for as long as possible, and there is I guess a risk at times that you may have experienced connections like that where you ended up feeling like you lost yourself, or you lost a part of yourself, or you lost sight of where you were actually headed and where you wanted to go, because you full on, it was like enmeshment. So again, like one of the main advice is really the hermit here is just like your savior, to just keep, take times, don't forget about spending time with yourself during all of this, because it's just two different ways of, I don't know how to explain. It kind of feels like two paths are unfolding, you know? And you may really find yourself at a crossroads at one point where you're going to have to make a choice, or you will just naturally somewhat, like, either it's going to be you making a choice, like making a conscious decision, a conscious choice, or you're somewhat just going to stumble into the path that you feel most drawn to. But here as well, I'm just getting a bit like a warning signal, in the sense of that's what you may want to remind yourself of, or why you may get confused at time. Okay, is this really love or is this lust? And if you already know, okay, no, I want to experience real love, then that may unfold differently than what you're used to. It may not be the intense, the intense physical, raw, primal energy that I picked up on. It may then be the slower path, the one that unfolds slower, maybe slower than what you're used to, and that can be unfamiliar, and that can bring up other fears, that can bring up fears of, where is this really happening? Is this even going anywhere? So yeah, you're dealing with a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it does feel like you're dealing with a lot, but again, apparently you need to drill this in your head. The advice you're getting is that your awareness, and on top of your awareness, allowing yourself to drop out of your head and experience what apparently you're meant to experience, or what is showing up as an opportunity. You can experience this, or you can choose not to experience this. Yeah, it's gonna give you, I feel like you're gonna get led step by step. Again, if you can drop out of your head, and you can, allow a good thing, I'm even hearing. So please watch the other YouTube reading, A Connection is Unfolding, that is not meant to be defined, but it's meant to be lived, because I feel like some of you that ended up on this reading are going to get a lot more as like a sequel to this. So I've broken down how I'm working. Sorry, I'm just like, when I channel I have to burp sometimes. I broke it down. I just made a post, so you may also want to read that. I'm available for one-on-one. We can address at any time if you feel like something needs to be addressed, and you want like more personalized one-on-one coaching. You can find all of that in my description. Just checking. I have it linked in this video. So I will see some of you on the other side, meaning Patreon, and I will be back very soon here. I'm going to put out another reading on Friday planned, so that's in a couple of days. So don't forget, thumbs up. Where are you guys? Thumbs up, and subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the reading. All right, much love.